All right, welcome back to the Showdown Breakdown. Where my turds at? Special. Me and Bobbywow breaking down Titans at Packers Thursday Night Football. Let's do this. Man, we're coming off that Monday nighter where we were just talking about it. Couldn't have nailed it better. You know, we talked about on the show, couple spots, right? But the big one was allowing, hey, don't worry about it. Play both running backs together. It's cool. And then we had that insane defensive touchdown.
Oh, my gosh. The very last play as time expired, right?
The crazy thing was, you know, Devontae Smith was in the optimal on FanDuel. Then he lost all those points, but he was still in the winning lineup. I don't believe an optimal actually won, though. I think it was a score that could have been beaten.
Yeah, well, he lost 2 points on FanDuel for the fumble, and then I think he lost like 14 receiving yards or something ridiculous. Yes. They got to figure that out.
It was a 4-point move. That doesn't make sense. It was a 4-point move. But, you know, the call was, you know, Gibson and Robinson together in the same lineup. And
yes,
I had a lot of the combo. We talked it over on the show, and man, it was the nuts up until that last play. And that allowed Commanders defense to 15, which I think Robinson was at 13 and change, or one of those two guys, and it passed it. But we were about to absolutely tear that slate a new one. I still came in second nuts on FanDuel, or seventh place. So whatever that was, still, you know, I made a little profit. It was fine, but I think first place either went to a solo or a two-person split in the contest I was in. So, you know,
there were people clamoring, Geek, for not being able to advance the ball on a fumble to end the game. Well, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that feels like DFS pertinent ruling there.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I really don't know what the rule is. I don't see that it was advanced. It was not advanced. So I'm not sure what the hell went on there. It was pretty nuts, but every now and again, you just let Jesus take the wheel. Somebody else made 300,000 on that defensive touchdown. So like, you know, win some, you lose some, but we are back. We've got another good one here to break down. Yeah. Joey Slizzles. We always talk about you know, I'm not going to take credit for the Joey Sly play, but you know, I love the tight ends in the kickers on these showdowns. They're always under-owned relative to their upside. Here we go. Andy K won the Monies on Super Draft. How the hell can you even win? Is Super Draft running contest big enough to win 1,300? But that's really awesome. That sounds like a first placer on Super Draft. And, you know, we've got a fresh game here. Packers.
A good one, too.
Yeah, there's nothing, you know, it's not a bad one, right? It's a fine game. Got the Packers home taking on the Titans. Let me just get the odds going here. 41-point total, Packers 3-point home favorites. Okay. And, you know, the big news for this game is just the emergence of Christian Watson last week as a stud. He did it on low volume. You're going to see right here. Actually, no, the volume was actually very, very good here. 84% of the snaps. It's really interesting, actually. I thought it was much lower snap count and a pretty high target count as well. So let me take a look here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 4 receptions, 35 fantasy points. That's kind of what I meant. Like I knew it was on four receptions, 35 fantasy points last week. And he's sort of the big deal question mark that we're going to have to deal with Bobbywow for this entire slate, right? This is where it's going to be.
Him and Randall Cobb, and we'll get into it, but I totally agree.
So you saw last week that Watson and Lazard, pretty much a 1-2 punch at wide receiver on the outside for the Packers. They got rid of Dubs, IR for the season. He got hurt. Sammy Watkins kind of mixed in there as the WR3. And part of what you're saying, hey, the return of Randall Cobb, that might actually affect Sammy Watkins most of all, because I think Christian Watson solidified his spot in the starting lineup on this one. Cobb is coming back from IR, so that's the big question mark for this week. Is he going to play? How much is he going to play? And he's Stoneman salary. We want to get on that. You remember on, I think it was either Sunday or Monday. It was Sunday. The days just melt together that we talked about Elijah Mitchell coming off IR, going to play. Don't need almost anything from the $200 guy. 4, 5, 6 fantasy points. You got the fire emoji on your DraftKings. You don't need much. And they're smashing salary. So,
yep.
With all that being said, looking at the running back position for the Packers here, it remains a 70-30-ish kind of split between Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think Jones got dinged up a little bit last week, but kind of was fine. And, no harm, no foul. I don't think there's a Q tag or anything here to be concerned about. Titans defensively we'll get into their defensive numbers, but you don't want to run on the Titans. You want to throw on them.
Yeah. Yep.
Tight end, Tunyon and Josiah and Mercedes Lewis all kind of splitting reps. Nobody's getting a lot of looks. Like Josiah Deguara, he could pop up. These are turds. Mercedes Lewis, he's been one of our turds for many years. I wondered once or twice has gotten there. He'll catch a tutty every once in a while.
He's gotten there once. He feels like he's been playing since the 80s. It's crazy that he's still in the league.
Yeah. He's been around forever. He's old, but the tight ends last a long time. It's like offensive linemen. Tunyon kind of goes all over the place. He's had games with double-digit targets this season, but I think the days of that are kind of numbered now with Lazard and Watson both healthy and playing in this game. Those are going to be Rodgers' guys. All right, flipping over to the Titans. The Titans are a really weird team. They really have a hard time passing the ball. It was worse for a couple games with Malik Willis, but it hasn't been that great with Ryan Tannehill. The pass catching group is just not very good. Robert Woods is clearly dust. Sorry, not trying to be a jerk about it. Yeah, he's just dusty, man. Westbrook Akine had a monster week last week.
He smashed. Yeah.
Yeah, they can go off. And Treylon Burks, he will kind of appear to be maybe the top guy, I guess. But I don't know which one of these guys will get Yair Alexander in coverage. Do you have any clue? Do we think it's Woods, Burks?
I don't know.
Does it matter?
I don't know that it matters. But it's just a bizarre situation overall.
Yeah, it's a little weird there. At running back, Henry is the show. Henry is everything. Dontrell Hilliard comes in for, to back him up and on the passing down work, but doesn't get a whole lot of carries or rushes. It's Henry or bust. And basically, if the Titans are in this game at all, Henry is having a good game. Their entire offense runs through him. If they're in it, he's having a good game. It's that simple.
Yeah, which is especially interesting given the Packers' struggles against the run. They're excellent against the pass, not nearly as solid against the run. So interesting environment here with Henry.
Absolutely. And, Dave mentioned Austin Hooper, 61% of the snaps last week at tight end, 19% target share. So definitely got some looks. I've always liked Austin Hooper, kind of been wondering when he was going to wake up this season and start having, start being productive. So it is nice to see him getting a few targets here and there and maybe stepping up his activity in the offense. Talk to me about, I'm going to try to say the name, Chigozian Okongwu. I
think it's Chig Okonkwo would be my guess. People call him Chig. Okay, that's like his nickname. Or maybe that's just what we're calling him to shorten it up.
Yeah.
Look, the guy is a beast, Geek. This I wrote in the notes. It's unlikely that it happens this week, but this feels like another Dulcich situation waiting in the wings. It makes no sense that Jeff Swaim is getting snaps over him. I think he's averaging like 20 yards of reception. He's massive.
Swaim is a beast. Swaim is there to block, right? He's there to block for Henry.
Even Hooper. Swaim and less snaps but targets. Like, it's crazy to me that it's happening. But yeah, anyway, Chig is I think he's going to be a Dulcich by the end of the season. He's going to be the most leaned upon tight end in this offense, which doesn't mean all that much, but important to note for a showdown slate.
Chig has actually been in the nuts already on a showdown So it will not be his first time if he did anything in this game. So we'll keep him in mind as we shift over to the cheat sheet where we take a look at DraftKings salaries and some potential captain plays here. So take us through the captain position on draft. Actually, before we even look at this, I want to take a look at our DVP sheet. I think this is actually more important or very, very important to take a look at before we go through the players. So can't see Tennessee. Got to move our heads over so you can see it. Titans allowing 3 points above mean expectation to opposing quarterbacks. Titans allowing a massive 8.21 fantasy points per game above mean expectations to the wide receiver position. Hello, Lazard and Watson. We see you. Not so good for the Packers running backs. They are the Titans are demonstrably really good against running backs. One of the best teams in the league, actually, at limiting opposing running back production, allowing 4.29 points below mean expectation to the position. Worse only than a couple of teams like New England and San Francisco. Hang in there. Right there, about number 3 in the league. 3 or 4. Flip side of this game, the Packers are actually very good against quarterbacks and wide receivers. Elite, really, against QB and wide receiver defensively, but average against running backs. Derrick Henry. So it feels a little bit like strength on weakness for, so I wouldn't call it a weakness for the Packers really, but you get the idea. It feels a little strength on weakness to me here where, the Packers are much better against the pass and the Titans don't care because they don't throw the ball. They're like, okay, you do that.
Absolutely. I think it's why the spread. That's why the spread is as close as it is to me.
Yeah. And you would have thought the spread would have been a lot wider, except for all these. Plus, the Packers can't be trusted.
True.
So let's get into the captain position over on DraftKings this week. And, right at the top here, you got your boy, Derrick Henry, D. Rockefeller.
I think Henry's pretty obvious, right? I mean, he's really expensive. So the fail potential on DraftKings, because the pass catching volume isn't there, though some's there, but just not all that much. His fail rate is higher on DraftKings. So that's what's keeping him from being an all format 5-star play. But he is on paper. I mean, he's projected the highest score. He should be able to smash in this matchup.
You got to like that neither team has like a quarterback that you're super worried about putting up a big number on. So yeah, I mean, you're not really worried about Ryan Tannehill, like, hey, sure, I'll account for it, but I'm not really worried about Tannehill putting up like a 30 or some crazy big score. And the next game that Aaron Rodgers scores 20 plus fantasy points will be the first time he's done it this year. So it's not like I'm so scared of either of these two guys putting up monster numbers. Certainly anything can happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Rodgers might have done it last week, but it was... Yeah, it's been a struggle.
I just wanted to be able to say I ain't scared of it.
I'm not either, and it feels darn good to say I'm not scared of Aaron Rodgers, Geek. That's a long time coming.
There we go. So Derrick Henry to me is by far and away like the most obvious captain choice in terms of the pay up options on DraftKings and the clear. We'll talk about FanDuel after, but the clear top play on FanDuel. But Derrick Henry has a fail rate that's not that low.
Absolutely. I mean, and here's the thing. We looked at the matchup sheet before this. The Packers are allowing 153 total yards per game to opposing running backs. The reason their number isn't worse on that sheet is because people haven't been able to punch the ball near the goal line, which Derrick Henry is a specialist at. So I think even better than the numbers would indicate, he should be able to smash here. But yeah, fail rate for sure.
Yeah, the fail rate is there. So, I agree he should be able to smash, but will he do it? We'll find out. You'll be starting most of your lineups with Henry and Jones. So you got to get me on this one. So Aaron Jones, obviously pass catching running back. This is not a good running back matchup. You see the little 3 over here, but more importantly, our internal DVP sheets show the Titans to be absolutely at the top of the list in terms of really good rushing defenses. So why load up so much on Aaron Jones, Bobbywow? Break it down.
A couple of reasons, but here's the main reason. One, his ownership is going to be too low. I think the projected ownership there is higher than it's going to be because people are worried about the matchup, and maybe rightfully so. But we don't have to look very far back to see what Aaron Jones did against the fourth best defense against the run, and that was the Cowboys last week, who we absolutely smashed against. I think Aaron Jones is a great pivot off of Henry. But I think, above all, like you look at the four pay-ups, right? Henry, Jones, and then to a degree, Rodgers and Tannehill. I love starting my lineups with both of those workhorse backs, especially with a guy like Jones, he's going to be in there catching passes. So Jones is a bit of an anomaly to me. And again, we saw that last week, which is why I really, really like him here as well.
He's a running back that can beat really good running back defense because he does a little bit with via the pass. So I'm not going to get crazy on Aaron Jones. I like it, but I am down with some of these pass catchers for the Packers because the matchup says that is probably the better way to lean. So you've got Aaron Rodgers here as a potential captain play. I don't accept that. I will skip over it, but I'm going to say this. If you want to play Aaron Rodgers as your captain, and I say don't do it. No one, by the way, something, hold on a second. I just want to, I'm going to, everybody, every single week, all I hear about is Bobbywow's awesome calls and DFS Up North's awesome calls. And Bobbywow picked the turd of the week. And Bobbywow said, play Khalif Raymond, and he went off. And Bobbywow said, play this one, and he goes crazy, right? I accept that. But can I get some credit for saying not to play these guys every once in a while? Like, no one says like, oh yeah, Geek was right. It was good we didn't play that damn quarterback. No one remembers that. Like, I've kept you off these quarterbacks all season, and they're never the nuts.
You've got the thankless job. You're like the background guy.
No, it's so thankless. I'm like, don't play this guy. Oh yeah, of course I'm not going to play that guy. Like it. Oh yeah. What the hell?
You like build the foundation. You build the house for all of us, and Josh and I get to be like a fancy new fixture occasionally.
Everybody's
that gets all the attention.
How did Bobbywow know to load up on Devontae Smith this week? I said, I don't know. But what about the other 7 plays that you just needed the one? So I want some credit. Damn it.
You know what? I'm gonna come every showdown with a little Geek credit, a little highlight.
I'm just gonna Trey Man is right. I should just sit here with the turd hat on all the time. That's it. Man. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna have the turd hat every day. When you weren't on the show, at least I gave out the Eli Mitchell nuts play. That's right. I had my chance when I rolled solo. Don't play Aaron Rodgers. Just don't do that. Christian Watson.
Lazard.
Oh, okay. Lazard and Watson. So here are your 2 best matchup spots. Lazard and Watson. We already saw the matchup sheet. You want to play wide receivers against the Titans. Their front 5 is really, really nasty. You don't want to run on the Titans defense. They're good at football, and they're good at stopping the run. So we want to throw against them, and Christian Watson broke out last week. 4 receptions, 35 fantasy points. This guy, by the way, his metrics, I don't even want to tell you, I have him in some dynasty leagues. So I've been on the Watson bandwagon, and of course I gave up on him because I'm like, oh, this is one of those guys that's always going to be hurt, Kevin White style. You remember Kevin White, your beloved Chicago Bears wide receiver? That dude had all the potential in the world, but was always hurt. He could not stay healthy for like 5 or 6 years of his career. Always hurt. You got another version of him on your team right now in not David Njoku, but N'Keal Harry. Same deal. Same deal. So I'm kind of thinking like Christian Watson is one of those. Just, super fast, but can't stay healthy. But my guy stayed healthy for a game, and whoa, he looked good out there catching passes from Aaron. So, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm on the bandwagon.
You are on the bandwagon.
I think
we need to pump the brakes, Geek. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Pump the brakes. So,
there's reason to be on the bandwagon, right? Obviously, last week was exciting. It's a second round rookie, so he had some promise coming in. Obviously, you had him in your dynasty league. But
I got him in a lot of dynasty leagues.
Geek, I think he had something like 10 total catches on the season prior
he's been hurt
last week.
He's absolutely been hurt.
But
he hasn't been able to get through a game. No, he has not. He's gotten in-game injured like 4 times already this year. This is what I'm saying. Like, you're seeing it wrong. This guy has gotten in-game injured every single. This is the first game that he made it through. The first one, Bobbywow. He's gotten either he didn't make it into the game or he got hurt in the first quarter. Now, that being said, pump the brakes. Here's where that comes into play. The dude has gotten injured in game in every game this year. Just because he made it through 1 doesn't mean he's making it through 2, because that would be like almost miraculous.
It would be. It would be.
So if I have a reason to not want to play him, it's not the salary. The salary's not bad at 7,400 for the WR2. I think the salary's fine. The reason you don't play him is because he could get in-game injured like that. Like, it takes, you just breathe on him and he's got a concussion. Or maybe not. Maybe that was just weird coinky dinks.
Can we also say that 3 touchdown catches on 4 total catches is a little bit not sustainable?
It's probably not sustainable. You're probably right.
Okay. Look,
although people said that about Cole Kmet, and then look what happened.
Well, sorry, he's just really good. Excuse us.
Only Bears players can do this. When Cole Kmet caught 2 touchdowns, 3 passes, we're like, I can't play, can't do that again. What did he do? 2 more touchdowns on 3 receptions. Like, I don't know. It's happening. So, yeah, listen, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. It was only 4 catches. Can he get another 35? Should we load up on him? I would say Alan Lazard is a safer bet for a higher floor production in this game. I do like to put my wide receivers in the captain spot, though, and you can't use anybody who's a wide receiver from the Titans. I mean, you can, but you kind of can't. You can, but they suck. And I can tell that you can't because you've got them all as turds here with just dart throws, right? Westbrook Akine last week. I mean, come on, Robert Tonyan.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, look, you know what? Forget it.
No, I want to hear. You're always right. I'm the skeptic, and you convince me. And then after the show, I'm like, holy shit, Robert Tonyan's in the fucking nuts. This happens every time. So listen, I have extreme cognitive bias. I need to be talked off of the ledge more.
So do I, which is why we make a great team.
Yeah. I need to be talked over the ledge.
Tonyan, it just feels like there is a productive game incoming for him. I think he had his highest snap count of the season last week. And this was a guy in 2020, before he got hurt last year, that was a super key piece in this offense. Him and Rodgers have undeniable chemistry. And man, it just feels like this could be the week where he bounces back a little bit. So I like the price. I like the ownership. Tonyan's just a guy that I'm going to be overweight on. I think this could be the week.
The ownership on Tonyan at captain, which is shockingly high, 3.71%.
It'll be lower.
Shockingly, that's high in my mind. And okay, you go over that.
Yeah. I think like a 8 to 10%er.
All right, that's not. I'm definitely not doing that. I would much rather have Lazard and Watson. Lazard
of course, but so would everyone else.
I know, but that's how you win the million, by doing something different. Now, Westbrook Akine, talk about a guy who could have won you $1 million last week if you had the balls to captain him. Who would even think? I don't know if I would have wasted one lineup on Westbrook Akine out of 150.
And you would have been absolutely right.
That. Right. I'd be like, I'm not doing that. It's impossible. And yet here he is. I think Westbrook Akine, and I love that you put him in under the captain, because I like him better than Woods and maybe better than Burks, although Burks is kind of similar. Like, Woods is so dusty, I don't think you can even play him as a captain. But Westbrook Akine, 31 fantasy points last week. Who knew? Yeah, Woods feels like when they line up in the Wildcat and the quarterback lines up as a wide receiver, that's who Woods has become this season. It's sad. But yeah, look at the 32-pointer last week. That's so harsh. That's very harsh for So you're saying he looks like Mac Jones out there running routes,
like Tom Brady last week when he slipped and fell.
Oh, brutal
poor guy.
Bobby Trees, man, what happened? He got old. What do you want? We all get old.
Doesn't help that your quarterback stinks, but yes, he's old too.
Brutal. So, yeah, I think Treylon Burks, though, is a little bit just a little bit, Treylon Burks is basically, bizarro Christian Watson. It's the same thing. Highly touted rookie, super large, fast guy, good body size. Not sure if he's going to hit. Kind of feels maybe a little busty.
Yeah, and again, the quarterback situation doesn't help, but you're absolutely right. That's why he's a dart, and I wouldn't go crazy there.
Yeah, very rough QB situation. So, I mean, again, just for my comfort here, Derrick Henry, hell yeah. Jones, sure, a little sketchy, but not a great matchup, but okay. Rodgers, no. Lazard, Watson, hell yeah. And then, a little bit of turd. So not too many real options here for captain relative to some other slates where where we're feeling a lot more obliged to play the Westbrook, like the WRs from basically because there's no wide receivers on the Titans, that much of interest. It kind of narrows down our pool. So I like that because it allows us to focus in on maybe 3 or 4 captains at most, and then really get into how we're going to mix those lineups up around those captains.
Love it.
Looking through the flex, again, where I like to go here is to who costs little. So let me ask you a couple of names that we didn't really cover. First, A.J. Dillon. Really bad matchup for him on paper. He's priced up high. I think the only way Dillon kind of does it is if Aaron Jones gets hurt in game.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. I mean, Aaron Jones, like you said earlier, as he got a little dinged up last week. I don't think it'll be a big deal, but it could always happen again, which A.J. Dillon would become the guy in that case. But it feels like Dillon is due some positive touchdown regression as well. So I prefer playing him on FanDuel if you're going to roster Dillon. But again, it's just such a bizarre situation where they came into the season, Dillon had the hype. They were splitting 50-50 for a little while, and Aaron Jones has just run away with the job at this point.
Yeah, it is. It kind of is what it is. Until Aaron Jones gets hurt, he's a better fit for Aaron Rodgers, really, because Aaron Rodgers really wants to throw to his running backs. He wants those passing options. And even when the Packers get down to the goal line, if you watch them play, they don't get into goal line formations very often. Rodgers will be in the shotgun on the 2-yard line. And Aaron Jones will be standing to his right. They don't get into the I formation even on the goal line more often than not. They're in the shotgun. So they just play a style of offense that just doesn't produce a ton to this style of running back. 6,600 is a little too spendy for me on DraftKings to feel any kind of safe using Dillon. So Treylon Burks, another one, 5,200. First round rookie can pop off, but this offense is so slow. And look at Westbrook Akine now at 6K. I mean, it's ridiculous. He had one good game.
Rough.
This guy has been an absolute stink the entire season, and now this.
It's gross, Geek. This price range is yucky for sure.
It's very bad. Sammy Watkins. You want to play Sammy Watkins? Hell no. Hold on, Bishop. Sammy who? Sammy Watkins? Where's the Bishop? Hold on. Let me get that. Gosh damn, did I erase it? Oh wait, here we go. Hell no. No. No.
Yeah.
I can't play the whole thing or we get strikes from YouTube.
Yeah.
I got to make my own version of that where I'm singing.
I like that. Let's make it happen.
I can't sing though.
It makes it even better.
Yeah, it would be really brutal. No Sammy Watkins. No. 4,800. No. Austin Hooper. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And you got your tight ends, your kickers, and the whole defense zone. And are you interested in these defenses?
Look, you have to be. You have to be because of last week. And that crazy stuff has been happening all year. Maybe not to the extent where the defense scores a touchdown when the clock runs out, but it's been happening. We've seen the defense in the optimal lineup way more this year than last year. At least it feels like to me. So you almost have to have exposure. I said I'm going to be around 10% on both. The Titans have taken the ball away significantly more than the Packers have.
Yeah. Good. And not a bad defense at all.
And Rodgers will take some sacks. So I think he's turned the ball over 10 times this season. He's been sacked a bunch. The front is good for the Titans. slightly more interested in the Titans if I had to choose, but you almost have to have at least a little bit of exposure to both. Are you in the same boat?
Yeah, you got to play them. You got to play them both, right? A little bit, but neither one of them is like certain games. You want to elevate those defenses a little bit higher than usual. Like that Eagles game didn't work, but on the Eagles side, the Commanders. But like if you didn't have Commanders, you didn't win the money. So weird stuff happens in these games. Somebody fumbles, a ball hits a player in the helmet, it pops up, another guy catches it, runs back for a touchdown. Weird things happen. You got to have some exposure, but they're turd exposure. I'm way more interested in both of these kickers in a game like this. Whenever you have a team like the Titans that rely so heavily on the running back, can't throw for a touchdown, you do wind up with a lot of situations where they're kicking a field goal because they, set third and long, they're screwed. Like they have no answer on third and long to get a first down. They don't have that quarterback, that Mahomes that can run for a first, third and 11. So they end up just kicking a lot of more field goals. And, similarly, the Packers, as long as the game is close, kind of Rodgers this season, a little bit off of his, precise game. Another team that I think I could see elevated kicks happening for both of these guys. And you've got a yellow warning on Bullock. I'm assuming that's because of the potential hamstring injury.
He tweaked his hammy, I think, yesterday again. So we'll see if he plays. Josh Lambo, I believe, is the guy that they signed just in case.
All right. So it doesn't matter to me if it's Lambo or this one or that one. Yep. Let's get into the turd zone over here. And there's a few names that actually I think have this a lot of turdliness. What is this? So much garbage on these teams. But Dontrell Hilliard, can catch a pass. Has had a good score or two already this season. 3,200 though is a little spendy for him.
Yeah, without Henry, I think he has score came without Henry, the good one he had. He's on the field a bunch. It's just weird because he gets like 2 or 3 touches a game. He was on the field.
He had the 21 pointer. He had the 21 pointer week 1.
I don't know that Henry even played. Maybe
after that. He's got 2 10-pointers, and those at 3K are probably enough. And by the way, he did it on one target, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Hilliard, you almost need a little bit because it reminds me of that time that couple of times that Samaje Perine kind of like in a mix-in game, Perine winds up the nuts because they threw to him 4 times on those, but he just took one to the house.
Perine, Darrell Williams was another guy who would do that.
Just take one to the house. Hilliard can do it. I want to control that exposure to the downside. Don't want too much of it. The other turd here, and we'll get into the best turd. Wait, where's my best turd? Hold on a second. You don't even have him all the way down. Oh, you didn't hide him. That's why. Hold on. We'll get to the best turd. But Chig Okongwu, and how it says Chig here, but said the full size name elsewhere. I will never understand how our system for this works, but Chig Okonkwo.
Yeah.
It's 2,600. My goodness. They didn't even give us a bargain on him.
Look at Hooper. He's expensive. I get he's the TE1. I don't know. Look, I think he's the guy that I'm taking some shots on down here at sub 10% ownership. It's like the Dulcich thing, Geek. He's bound to break out at some point here. I doubt it's tomorrow, but I think he's the one guy that I'd be really potentially excited about below 3K.
Do you limit both Titans RBs in the same lineup? I'm going to say no to this. I don't think one has that much to do with the other. I think if Hilliard got there, it's by one accidental target that he takes to the house. And he could do that while Henry's having a good game. So I'm not going to do it, but
and that for me is operating under the assumption, like if you're doing MME, that you're going to have 5 to 8% Hilliard. If Hilliard is going to be in a bunch of your lineups, I would definitely make a rule in some of them. I would batch it out.
Or do a batch. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to do some where you're sure, just because Hilliard also functions as Derrick Henry got hurt. Now Hilliard is in the nuts because there's no Henry. So actually, you know what? I think there's a fair argument to say if you're using a small amount of him, that, yeah, you might just do that and just play it as a hedge against a Henry injury, which, again, if you've watched the show for the last 3 years, running backs get hurt in game something to the tune of 10 to 20% of the time. So accounting for an RB1 injury in your lineup construction is not some pie in the sky nonsense. It is something that happens frequently enough to be a plus EV strategy for these type of contests. If you're not doing it, you should be. We've been doing it for years, and it's happened enough times to where I now know, like, we measure it. It's between, at times it's been as high as 20% in-game injury rates for the running back position. It's actually come down a little bit this year, but yeah, variance.
Yeah.
So the turd of the slate, though, everybody wants the turd of the slate. The turd of the slate may just be Randall Cobb. So take me through it, Bobbywow.
Cobb has been out. He's been on IR, but he was designated to return from IR and return to practice yesterday. So according to Matt Frenchie LaFleur, he is TBD as far as status for tomorrow's game. But if he is in, I have a hard time keeping him out of any of my lineups at $200. To your Mitchell point from a couple weeks ago, what, he needs 3 catches maybe to hit value there.
We played Eli Mitchell hoping for like a 4. He ends up with a 6. The fire emoji is everywhere. 2 receptions for Cobb is all you need.
Yeah.
2 catches. At 200, all you need is a couple of receptions on DraftKings, and it's more than enough. So let us give the caveat as we record this on Wednesday. And if you're with us live, by the way, smash that like button. What are you guys doing? Like, subscribe, right? Do it now. But as we record this on Wednesday afternoon, we don't know if Randall Cobb will be active for the game tomorrow. So let's not go crazy. We got to wait. We got to find out. We got to listen for a little more news. So what we're saying and what Bobby is saying here is, if Cobb is going to be active, and if he's healthy enough to, I don't like that he's only being activated yesterday. I want to find out more. Has he been practicing?
Yes.
I want to find out a little bit more of the details on this guy. But like with the Eli Mitchell, the coach came out and said he's going to play. He's going to back up. He's fine, and he's perfectly healthy, and he's going to back up Christian McCaffrey. So we felt comfortable. Oh, okay. This is a guy who will get 6 or 7 carries. Fine by me. I'll take that for this role for 200. If I know that Randall Cobb will get 30%, 40% of the snaps in this one, probably going to get, 2 targets, 1 reception, or 4 targets, 3 receptions, fine by me. I would be loading up on that. But he might get a 0 also, and he might not even get in the game. So we have to really pay a little bit of attention to the props as well on Randall Cobb as we get closer to this game.
Yeah, this is super important. We'll have updates in the Discord tomorrow as we get closer to game time. But keep tabs on the situation. We will be. So just make sure you're hanging out in the Discord closer to lock.
I hope Trinell is joking here.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. So we both agree. We hope you're joking.
Chig,
all right.
Chig. Yeah, no Chig captain, please.
No. Or Robert or Tunyon. No. If
we did this with Goddard 2 weeks ago. Come on.
I am wearing the turd hat comes back on. If this, I will do something worse. If Tunyon is find a worse punishment, because I like wearing the turd hat. It's comfortable. It's cold in my house. But it's cold here. But you find something worse. I will drink a beer out of the turd hat if he's the nuts captain. All right, let's make a lineup, Bobby.
I'll do the same if Watson's the nuts captain.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
There
oh my God, you always skew the bet so much in my favor, and I always lose. I have such a higher chance of winning that than you do, and yet you're gonna win it. Now I have to use some Tunyon. Damn it. God damn it. All right, let's do a lineup here.
Please, for anyone watching, don't go crazy on Tunyon and the captain.
Do not do that, guys.
5%, 10%.
Yeah, just don't go crazy. Unless he goes nuts, in which case we told you to play all Tunyon. All right, so let's build a lineup on DraftKings before we go over to you know what, Trinell, you're right, by the way. Let me just address this. You're right. We do say you should take a stand. And, I remember a couple of weeks ago when you said play Laviska Shenault, Bobbywow, for that Jaguars game. And somebody in Slack and in the Discord was like, yep, 100% Laviska. I was like, dude, take it easy. And then, of course, Laviska was the smash, slam, nuts punt. And I was like, you know what? That guy probably made a lot of money. And they did. You know, that person probably won a tournament by going that heavy on like a question mark like that and it working. So if you just basically play the Bobbywow lean every single week, and he's right like 1 out of 3 even, you're making millions. Who cares?
And caveat, you don't have to be all in on a guy. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to be all in on Tunyon for him to pay off in a major way. If you want to take a stand on Tunyon, get 3x the ownership that he's projected, and that's taking a stand. I prefer taking stands in the flex more than the captain on slates like this. But again, don't feel like you have to go all in, Geek.
Yeah. No,
leverage, just taking a stand.
Worked out for me with Laviska that time, and I played like 25%.
Exactly.
But had I gone 100%, could have worked even better. All right, so let's make a lineup, Bobbywow. Who do you want to start with at the captain? I'll give you the choices.
Give me Lazard. I think Lazard is
we'll
the
go
best
with our safest
bet.
And plus, it's almost like me and you. It's a compromise because I want to put Watson in there. So we go with Lazard. Okay, Derrick Henry in the lineup for sure. Play some kickers. Bullock now officially listed as out, by the way.
There we go.
So
Josh Lambo it is.
Lambo. When Lambo. You remember that?
Yeah.
From crypto?
Yes.
Can we joke around about crypto because it's dead?
It might be too soon.
It's too soon? Okay.
Maybe.
All right. It might be too soon. So I got both kickers in here, Lambo and Crosby, because I always love my kickers, man. I'm obsessed with. You don't like 2 kickers.
I hate 2 kickers. Hate it.
All right. So let's go.
Got to put Randall Cobb in, Geek.
Get Cobb in. Oh, yeah, of course. So, all right. Though, I'm not going to see this. I'm going to forget about this lineup. But, all right. So, if we're playing Cobb, then which are the 2 kickers that we're using?
Give me Lambo.
All right. When Lambo. Okay. And so this pretty much, you know what's crazy? You really want me to make a lineup without Christian Watson?
You have such good memory hooks. I think we got to give you some props for that too. When Lambo. Like you have these little, I love it.
No, I don't really want. So you love you love Jones in your lineups, not Aaron Rodgers, right? So if you put, your last spot here, actually, I can get Christian Watson in here or Tannehill. C. Watts. C. Watts. This is going to be a weird ass slate, I can tell you already, because I see Aaron Rodgers, I can afford him, and I kind of don't want to even use him. That makes it weird. I see Tannehill's hanging out, and I'm like, nope, I'll take Christian Watson. Why? Because Christian Watson, if he's having a game, is putting up 25. The problem is I don't know if Watson belongs in the flex to a Lazard captain lineup with no Aaron Rodgers in it.
Yeah, I don't love that as much.
You kind of need Rodgers. If we were to do this with Cobb, you absolutely need Rodgers in that lineup. Then I don't even need the Lambo in there.
Upgrade Lamby.
Westbrook Akine, you want to go full scale like tournament?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go crazy GPP silly for the millie with that one. That was not a cashy lineup at all, guys. That didn't feel very cashy at all. So
it's not cashy.
We got to work on those. Let's talk a little bit of FanDuel here.
Henry's your cash captain there with Cobb in the lineup.
Yeah. You got to go Henry captain in cash. Lambo's probably not in the Dom station as of yet because he was probably just added to the player pool. So we'll have to add him to it. This is like this whole thing with the kickers just kind of happened in the last day or two. So we probably wouldn't have accounted for it yet. FanDuel. By the way, yeah, actually, let's build a cashy one here because I do want to kind of show what I would do in cash. And I think in cash, you got to play Henry up here.
Henry and Cobb. That's how you start. If Cobb's
you got to go Cobb and Lazard also. And from here with Cobb, Lazard, again, cash games. We love our kickers. I'll probably go with the home kicker, though, in a cash lineup. 9K. Yeah. At this point, you can do whatever you want. And, dude, I think Christian Watson is a better. I think you can play him in cash.
You're going to have Lazard, Cobb, Crosby, and Watson.
You can or you can't.
I don't know.
Cash?
I feel like we're so excited about Christian Watson after one game.
You're trying to ruin my excitement about Christian Watson. That's what's going on.
But you're right though, Geek. There's no one. Who else are you going to play?
That's what I'm saying. If you skip you could get every skill position in that lineup, no problem. Like, it's not even hard.
Right. It's basically Watson versus Tannehill, and the odds of Watson scoring higher than Tannehill are pretty decent.
You want Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Jones? I mean, for real, which one would you prefer? I think it's probably Aaron Rodgers actually in cash.
With all those guys, you got to put Rodgers in.
So let's do this one with Rodgers in it. But you get the idea. Like, this is cash is kind of weird. And leaving salary on the table, even with Henry. So if we don't get the Randall Cobb sort of free square, as a matter of fact, what I'm discovering from this is because Randall Cobb's not like a likely high scoring guy, maybe we don't even need the super punt. That's the other way to approach it. That maybe I'll do it in cash, but I do want to go with this angle that maybe we don't need that super punt because it's really no problem to put together lineups with a lot of decent players. As long as you don't really care about playing a ton of Tannehill or Rodgers. It's really interesting. Now on FanDuel, I do want to play those quarterbacks. Remember the FanDuel format. Running backs and quarterbacks are king on FanDuel. They're going to outscore these wide receivers more often than not. It's very difficult for a wide receiver, any sort of a pass catcher, to be in the nuts. It happens. Dallas Goedert a couple weeks ago in that game for the Eagles. It definitely happens.
A.J. Brown has happened with,
Yeah, but they have to do the 3 touchdowns thing more often than not. Christian Watson would have been there last week.
He would have.
Look at my face of satisfaction. Anyway, Westbrook-Akine would have been there too.
What's your saying that I love? The sun shines on a dog.
Even the sun shines on the dog's ass every once in a while.
That's how I feel about Christian Watson. I know madness is going to kill me. All the
you're
Packer
so
fans
brutal, man. You're going to come
at
around. This is one of those ones where you're going to come around. You're going to come around unless he gets hurt again. Listen, I'm not a doctor. I can't predict in-game injuries, especially to perfectly healthy players that go into the game healthy and then I didn't see the injury.
Feels like you're already backing up the bus a little, Geek.
No,
I don't know.
Listen,
okay.
I'm accepting that an in-game injury can happen. My thought, my analysis is based on 4 quarters of play. Yeah, even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while.
There we go.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
There we go. And twice is all we need for Watson in this case.
That is all we need. All right, so potential MVPs on FanDuel, obviously Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones lead the list. I much prefer Derrick Henry, just generally because of the matchup. And I mean, look at the projection.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's projecting for 18. Aaron Jones is 13. Can be hard for Aaron Jones to get there. Rodgers and Tannehill, fine. And then after that, it just turns into disgusting. A.J. Dillon literally needs Aaron Jones to get hurt in order for this to work. So if I'm using A.J. Dillon, I'm certainly disallowing Aaron Jones from that lineup.
Certainly.
And vice versa. I don't think those two should probably end up together in any lineups because they won't be the nuts together. Dillon is way too expensive on FanDuel at $12K. That is not backup running back. He's the starter price.
That is strictly MME silliness with A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
Dart.
Yeah, unplayable almost, actually, on FanDuel. The only way that Dillon makes it there at $12K is if there's an in-game injury to Aaron Jones and he just takes over and goes bananas. Could happen, but understand what you're playing for with that play. You don't love Tannehill. I don't love Tannehill. No one loves Tannehill. Tannehill used to have good games last season. Bobbywow?
He had a decent game last week.
Did he?
First in a long time, it feels like. I don't know that it was enough to get you there, but he threw for 250 yards, a couple touchdowns. He had a better score than Henry. I know that.
It was with Westbrook-Akine going bonkers. And that was his best game. Actually, you know what? Now that I look at it, he's got you 20 fantasy points now 3 times this year.
Yeah, it's still
very
take a stinker to get there, but
quietly, and he can run one in.
That's the thing.
You know what? He's been a lot better than Aaron Rodgers. He's gotten close to 20 3 times already this year. Aaron Rodgers only hit it once. So, do with that what you will.
Yeah, he's certainly viable.
Yeah, I guess we got to keep both of these quarterbacks in mind. And, Tannehill's more likely to run one in, as weird as that sounds, and get that rushing touchdown. Probably a little more likely than Aaron Rodgers at this point. He's got no interest in getting hit if he doesn't have to. He's not running around like he used to. Taking a look at some of the salaries and some of these names. So you got Henry at 17K, Dylan 12, way too expensive. Lazard 11K. Ugh. We did not get the bargain pricing on C. Watts. Need those touchdowns. It doesn't look so good. Randall Cobb 7,500. That's not a bargain. Westbrook Akine, GPP only. Sammy Watkins, gross.
Robert Tonyan on FanDuel, guys, is way too cheap.
This is the play. So here's the deal, guys. Bobbywow loves Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan on DraftKings is not as great of a play. It's kind of priced expensive alongside. Robert Tonyan's like not that different a price from like Christian Watson and those guys on FanDuel. He's a little less expensive, but he's hanging out with in a more expensive zone. At 7K on DraftKings, on FanDuel, FanDuel values the touchdown that Robert Tonyan can get us, and he's a touchdown scorer a lot more than DraftKings does. So to me, as I'm looking at this, I'm surprised you gave him 0 stars, Bobbywow. Disappointed, really. Because for me, like how I'm going to abuse the fact that you forgot to put the stars in.
That's just your screen, Geek. It's showing on my screen.
Oh, man. I want to take credit for it.
You never do the Google sheet. It drives me nuts, man. It's like my pet peeve.
Google sheet, it doesn't display well on screen.
That's true. I know. We always go over this, and you always remind me of that.
It doesn't display well. It like the locked header takes up half the screen. Yeah, you're right. Let's see how many stars we got on Tonyan here. I was going to say you don't like him, but I love him, and I was going to take credit for it. That was my whole concept that I was going for right there. Where is he?
He's 3.5 on my screen.
I went to DraftKings. Hang on. See, I hit refresh. So you got 3.5 stars. Anyway, the point is, Robert Tonyan 7K is like one of the best plays on.
Absolutely, yes.
I still see no stars. What the hell is going on here? Whatever. But one of the best plays on FanDuel this week. This is just technical difficulties, guys. Traylon Burks, 8K. Randall Cobb, 7,500. Westbrook Akine, 10. Oh, my goodness.
That's pricey.
Yeah, I think the way you're going to build your lineup, well, let's show, and I'm just kind of trying to see if there's any other value plays that we need to worry about. Yeah, Okongwu for mass multi-entry. Maybe Josiah and these other turds. Any one of these guys, even Jeff Swaim can catch a touchdown. So you got to get just that little bit of exposure. Man, I probably would have. Is a dart better than a turd or worse than a turd?
It's better. It's better than a turd.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of agree with this. I think these guys like a Jeff Swaim, a little bit better than a turd. You could catch a touchdown. Mercedes Lewis has caught a touchdown or two in his career. So like it could happen. Remember Samori Tawari was the nuts play not long ago? Was
he?
Yes.
Man, he got outsnapped by Watkins last week by double.
Oh my God.
Randall Cobb coming back.
It was a one-time thing.
I do remember that. Yes.
Oh, that was also a showdown, I'm pretty sure.
One catch wonder.
I played every turd in that game.
Except
this guy. Didn't get that far. I think we had Christian Watson get hurt in game. And by the way, that could happen again. That's exactly what happened in that game. Like, oh, Watson's playing. It's fine.
The one guy
he got hurt. Cobb, everybody got hurt in game, and all of a sudden, Torre is the guy. So let's try to make a lineup here.
That's what I wrote about Watkins this week. He's the guy that we're not going to play, and he's going to score, and it's going to drive us nuts.
Which Watkins? Sammy?
Yeah, one of the pesky spots that will result in a 0 if you roster him, and against all odds, hits the nuts if you don't.
That's pretty much what Watkins is. I think you play a couple shares. I like
He's
Watkins.
not going to hit, but when we don't play him.
No, you got to have like a 3 or 4%. I think this 3% is right. If you do the rest right, you got to mix in almost everybody. If you can get your main approach right, then even the 3% might find its way into that lineup that you're trying to get to.
Yep, which on FanDuel is why you limit those MVPs. Then you can rotate guys like Sammy Watkins in.
The fewer MVPs you have, the more turds you can cycle through in your 150. And my goodness, if you have the cojones to do 300, even more.
It only takes one. We saw it last week. We said there's no way a Jalen Hurts MVP takes down the solo big contest on FanDuel. And it did because someone made enough lineups so that the Washington defense cycled in. And it happened.
Yeah. And by the way, you can achieve it by, there are more, especially on FanDuel, they usually have multiple contests at similar dollar amounts. So like if you're playing the smaller ones, you could play probably like a quarter game, a 50-cent game, $1, a $3 game, whatever it is. Like if you play the larger ones, they usually do a $3 one and a $4 one. You want to make 300. The problem when you make 300 though, I'm going to say this because it's unique to FanDuel, is a lot of times you win these. You can only hit the nuts once if you're making 300 unique lineups. And a lot of times you can hit the nuts and just tie with a million people, and then you didn't make your money back. So the more lineups you make for these, you certainly run the risk of still winning the tournament, but not even getting your money out of it. That's never fun. But I think what will happen over time by doing that is you'll actually hit more frequently on those low-owned ones that actually pay well. So, you got to hit if you're going to keep mass multi-entering, it's rough if when you're winning, you're only like, if you're putting in 700 to mass enter and you win back 900 and you win it, you're not going to win every single one. So over time, you need to get those big wins to make up
super
for
quick
it.
On that note, just to kind of get it out there, because I think people would be curious. If you had the opportunity to put 150 lineups into a $4 contest or run 300 lineups over two $2 contests, which would you prefer?
If it's DraftKings, I would much rather the 300 over 2.
Okay.
If it's FanDuel and the massive ties are in place, there is a real argument that you're better off with just the one contest. Because on FanDuel, you can only win one of them, and with the numbers of ties that exist, like I said, a lot of times you don't even win the money back from the one, so you really start to lose a lot of money.
That's good insight. I like it.
It's much, much better. I always, on DraftKings though, I want to make as many lineups as I can. I hate the pricing on DraftKings for their tournaments. Like I don't like the $20 level for this style of tournament, because I'd much rather do 300 lineups at $4 and $5 rather than having to kind of stick it all in one 150.
Absolutely.
Lineup run.
That's good.
All right, let's make a lineup here on FanDuel. And I think you start with Derrick Henry at the top. I think that's a pretty obvious one. The other guy I want to put in here is Bobby Tunyon, because I think that's the bargain guy. Now, we could switch off of that if we can afford other things, but kicker.
Is Lambo even? He's not in there yet. He probably will be tomorrow.
But
he would be the guy I'm going with.
Yeah, but there's no
Crosby
Lambo
for now.
Yeah, we could put Crosby in there. And that gets us to basically this area over here where I could actually play Aaron Rodgers or Tannehill or Aaron Jones and one of Lazard. I think Lazard is probably the better guy.
Yep,
although, again,
agreed.
I love Christian Watson.
Man, you have some cashiche.
I love Christian Watson. But look what happens here. Actually, you know what? You don't even need Bobby Tunyon.
I mean, if you play Rodgers, you got 1K left over. Who are you going to go to at 8K instead of 7?
I got 1,500 left over. And let's see. That's Woods. That's Burks. That's Hooper. Yeah, you're right. It's Tunyon. So from this spot, nothing. But I do think if this was a cash lineup, let's see. No. Like, I'd rather have quarterbacks than non-quarterbacks. in this format always, right? I play Superflex fantasy football, and the one overriding truth in Superflex is you always play a quarterback over a non-quarterback in a cash game environment, which is essentially what season-long fantasy football is. It's a cash game. You always play the quarterback. People are like, should I play that? Always play the quarterback. Why? Because quarterbacks just have such a high floor, even the bad ones. So I'd rather get, you know what? I'm going to go with Tannehill, not Rodgers. I want to see if I can. No. 2,500 left. No.
So I really like the slate on FanDuel for tournaments, just because people are going to try to spend every dollar, and it's not optimal to do so, in my opinion, on this slate. So it's really interesting for tournaments. It makes it harder for cash, though, for sure.
Yeah, it makes it's a little bit tricky here on cash, because there's no real stud that you're like, oh, I can reach up for this quarterback or that and lock in some great score. Like you play Aaron Rodgers and you kind of like, you might get just like a 15. So I do like Rodgers, though. I do like these quarterbacks much more, like I said, on FanDuel than on DraftKings, but there's a lot of price for flexibility on this slate. It's going to be really interesting. Fun to make lineups for it. What is this? Who is Zeke? Who is Zeke? Zeke Nanaj. Is that a player in this game?
Oh my God. Crazy.
Not to be confused with Nicki Minaj. F-R-E-A-K. You don't know that song?
It almost sounded like the melody for Glamorous by Fergie for just a half a second there.
Fergie hasn't had a song on the radio in 15 years. Listen to me. After this show, go look up Nicki Minaj Freak. But the song is called Freak. But what I'm going to tell you is not safe for work. NSFW.
I think I'll just queue up Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie. I'm going to.
That you could do. But I'm saying if you listen to Nicki Minaj Freak, don't have like your children in listening distance. It's super inappropriate.
It's a Spotify play, not a YouTube play.
Yeah. Do not put that on YouTube. All right.
Okay.
That's going to do it for the Showdown breakdown. NFL.
Glue those eyes to the Discord for the Cobb news.
We got to figure out what's going on with Cobb. So make your lineups, but beware. But my takeaway from this, we got two things. Number one, we got a turd challenge here. Tunyon versus Watson. I'm on Watson. Not Sammy Watkins, not to be confused. Christian Watson versus Robert Tunyon for DraftKings captain. My guess is neither one of them are getting there, but if it's anybody, it's always going to be Bobby's guy.
Can we do this? Can we do this just to make it simple? Let's just say highest scorer.
Oh, you just changed it. You just
okay. Never mind. Forget it. Okay, captain.
No, it's got to be a nuts captain play. No, there's no changes. Although I would do highest score too, but I don't want to see you wearing the hat unless you have to, or drinking from a hat, or can't really drink from this hat. In fairness, it's not a normal hat. Like the fluids would just go right through it. It's
Captain
not going to catch the. It's not going to catch the liquids. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, and the one thing to keep in mind was this is a slate where, like, man, you can build whatever the hell you want. Like, you're not limited by salary. Look at I've hand built 2 lineups here. I could not spend the entire salary comfortably. So this is going to be an interesting one. It should be fun. Should be a lot of unique lineups because of that. So let's see how it goes. If you play either Tannehill or Rodgers at the MVP or captain, MVP more so, make sure you're stacking them with at least one of their pass catchers. But beyond that, I'm not. The only other rule for me would be avoid Jones and Dillon and lineups together. It ain't like the last slate where we had bargains on those 2 running backs. We can play them both in a lineup. These are 2 running backs in a horrible running back matchup. That is not going to work out. Any last thoughts, Bobbywow?
Who's your turd?
I mean, it's if it's not Cobb, we're not calling Cobb a turd, right?
No, I'm going Chig.
Yeah, I like Chig is probably the best of them. So I'm not going to go against it. I don't like any of these other turds. You know what? No, I don't like any of them.
Say it.
That's probably Hilliard. but he's not turtly enough. The price, I don't like the price. That's what I'm saying. I don't like it.
I thought you were I'm not
gonna force a turd out.
What I thought you were going to.
You know what happens when you force out a turd? You end up with hemorrhoids.
That's a very, very good reminder. Thank you.
All right, we went too far. That last bit took it too far. Good luck, everybody.
People won't forget.
Good luck, everybody, this week. Let's kick some ass. Let's take some names, and we will see you guys next time on another Showdown breakdown. Like, subscribe, notification bell, sign up for DFS Army, all those great things. We'll see you next time.